Hi guys, I'm Jenny and welcome to my kitchen. For today's Healthy You Meals family recipe, we are making fruit pizza. So let's go ahead and get started. So the ingredients we need for our fruit pizza includes our favorite fruits. So today I picked strawberries and blueberries, some refrigerated sugar cookie dough, some cream cheese, vanilla extract, a little pinch of sea salt, and finally we are going to use a little bit of honey as well. Then the materials that we'll need to make this recipe include a colander for washing our fruit, some nonstick spray, some parchment paper, our baking sheet, and finally a spatula. So before we even start baking, we need to go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Okay, so we're finally ready to get started. So first I have our baking sheet right here, and I am just going to take out a piece of parchment paper just big enough to stretch out over the baking sheet, just like this. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. So then once you get that laid down, just for an added security to make sure our dough doesn't stick, we're gonna spray that down with just a little bit of nonstick spray. Perfect. Okay, so now here comes the fun part, and we'll actually feel like we're starting to cook, is go ahead and get your dough. And it can be helpful if you let your dough sit out of the fridge maybe 15, 20 minutes, so it gets a little bit softer and easier to work with. So we're gonna go ahead and place that right down. And then as you guys can see, I've got little sections. So I just wanna mush these together so that it makes one giant piece of dough. And I am just using my fingers to get this done. So even just those little bit of pats, you can already see it's it's slipping, one giant piece now. So now it is a bit thick, so I'm going to take my spatula and just keep pressing it down until it's a little bit thinner. Okay, and if your spatula, your fingers are sticking, you can also go ahead and spray that just slightly with the cooking spray as well, and that's gonna help it not stick. Perfect. Okay, so this is what my dough looks like now. It's not completely perfect, but it doesn't have to be. So then the next most important thing to watch out for is you want to make sure there's at least 1 inch of space in between the dough and the edge of your baking sheet. That's because dough expands when it's in the oven, so we want to make sure there's enough room for our dough to grow. So just make sure you've got enough space just right there. And now I think that this is ready to pop into the oven. So our dough needs to bake for 10 to 14 minutes before it's a nice golden brown. So I'm gonna set a timer on my microwave so that I don't forget the dough is in. Okay, so now we're working on my favorite part of the pizza, the sauce. So for that, we're gonna go ahead and take out our cream cheese, which has been softening on the counter as well. And get that open, and we're gonna place it into a small mixing bowl. Okay. Then the next part, we need 3 tablespoons of honey. So we'll go ahead and get that measured out. There's 1 tablespoon. We can use a spatula from before. I can scoop that out. That was 1. Here's 2. Okay. And the last one. Oops. Okay. That last one in there. Get that all down using your spatula. Okay. So then we need our teaspoon of vanilla. So go ahead and get that measured. And make sure you're using a teaspoon, not a tablespoon like we were before with the honey. You get that in there. And then finally, we just need a little pinch of salt. So now we just need to mix up our honey, vanilla, cream cheese, and salt mixture until it's well combined. Okay, so after like a minute of stirring, this is what my sauce looks like. So it's pretty well combined. Some of the honey is a little bit hard to get completely mixed in with the cream cheese, but it doesn't have to be perfect because it's all gonna taste good no matter what. So now that we're done with our sauce, we can get to our final part, which is the toppings, before we're finally gonna be ready to assemble our pizza. So, like I shared before, I'm using my favorite fruits, which are strawberries and blueberries. But something that's important to remember when you're working with berries is that sometimes they can be a little bit dirty, even when you buy them from the store. So we need to go ahead and get these rinsed off in the sink. So what I'm going to do is just combine them in this colander bowl, just like this. And then rinse these off in the sink for about 30 seconds, then let them drain, and then they will be ready for us to slice the strawberries and get ready for the pizza. Okay, so I just finished chopping our strawberries and my timer just went off for the dough. So let's go ahead and check it and see if it's nice golden brown yet or if it needs a few more minutes. Okay, so now we are finally ready to assemble our pizza. I pulled my dough out of the oven about 15 minutes ago and I've let it cool down completely. As you can see, it got much bigger when it was cooking in the oven. So that's why we left those extra spaces on the side so that it had room to grow. So now we're just gonna take our sauce and we are gonna spread this all over our cooled down pizza dough. Now that we have our sauce on our dough, we are ready to add our fruit. So you can either just kind of put the fruit on one layer at a time, or you could try to make a pretty design. I think I'm gonna try to do a design, but okay. We'll just keep adding slices of fruit until the pizza is completely covered. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, and that is our fruit pizza. So I just try to make a simple kind of snowflake design, but do whatever you want. And I can't wait to hear about what kind of fruits you used on your pizza.